Hello there, you're watching our television. This is State of Business. I am Pamudha Kattukampala. Let's have a look at the headlines. Maintaining stability in the banking sector is paramount, Sri Lanka Bank Association stresses. New laws will be introduced to encourage investments, Foreign Employment Minister says. Welcome back, you're with State of Business. Now let's have a detailed look at today's stories. Now, the Sri Lanka Banks Association has raised concerns over the domestic debt restructuring program, which is to be executed by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. The Banks Association stressed this in a statement which was released by them recently. Sri Lanka Banks Association in a statement urges for a proper evaluation and warned that additional risks to industrial stability and public confidence must be avoided. The statement said that banks have consistently supported the government's and CBSL's efforts over the years through severe economic hardship, especially in recent times. The association warned taking further impairment costs on top of these strains on capital and liquidity is not sustainable, especially with the tax deductibility of these necessary costs of being in business being uncertain. It further added that the banks reiterate that maintaining stability of the banking system is paramount at this time when extremely difficult decisions are being made. The association also said its members have asked for clarity on a number of issues, including more disclosure on the proposed domestic debt optimization and international sovereign bond restructuring terms. The statement added management of this process, including priorities of the government through their agents, the IMF expectations and all public debt holders, is admittedly difficult given the diversity of interests. However, it said the lack of transparency in the negotiations with the SLBA member bank consortium is unhelpful. Meanwhile, the banks of the country reiterated that maintaining stability of the banking system is paramount at this time when extremely difficult decisions are being made. The Sri Lanka Banks Association said this in a press statement released recently. The statement said the Sri Lanka Banks Association represents all of the licensed banks in Sri Lanka and underpins all sectors of the economy. The statement explained that the banking sector is the main mechanism through which the Central Bank of Sri Lanka implements monetary policy influencing the financial markets. It was highlighted that the stability of the banking system is critical for the national interests. The association said it is necessary to arrive at a consensus with creditors that repayment relief will be afforded to the government of Sri Lanka by their debt holders in order to enable repayment to commence within sensible repayment capacity limits that do not result in social strife and political disruption. It was highlighted that a further escalation of the situation we are in must be avoided and that the banking sector will have to play an active role in Sri Lanka's economic revival process. The statement further said the sector capital adequacy ratios and liquidity coverage ratios are presently within the regulatory requirements. It also said this position must not be depleted through any action including a debt restructuring that threatens the stability of banks and erodes public confidence. Now, Labour and Foreign Employment Minister Manusha Nanayakara revealed that a new integrated labour law to encourage foreign investment is due. The minister stated this at the Ministerial Consultative Committee on Labour and Foreign Employment Affairs meeting, which was held in Parliament recently. Foreign Employment Minister Nanayakara said that taking opinions and suggestions of all relevant parties will be started from the 2nd of May to formulate the integrated labour law. Minister further pointed out that the country's industrial law, which is currently scattered and complex, is expected to be converted into an integrated labour law, and it is an essential step to encourage local and foreign investors. Thus, the new consolidated law will facilitate the settlements of disputes between employers and employees. The attention of the committee was also paid to businesses that are not registered in the Employees' Provident Fund. Accordingly, it was decided to inform all divisional secretariats and local governments commissioners in writing to send information about businesses registered in different parts of the island to the Ministry of Labour. Also, the minister instructed the Department of Labour and the Employees' Provident Fund to submit a plan of possible future actions against such companies within a month. The head of the Foreign Employment Bureau, DDP Senanayake, said that nearly 90,000 people, including 26,000 unskilled workers and over 60,000 skilled workers, have been sent for foreign jobs recently. Stay tuned for more stories after this short commercial break. Welcome back, you're watching State of Business. Now, the 56th annual meeting of the Asian Development Bank's Board of Governors will kick off tomorrow in Incheon, Republic of Korea, after a 3-year hiatus. Foreign Affairs Minister Ali Sabri will represent Sri Lanka in the meeting themed Rebounding Asia, Recur, Reconnect and Reform. The 4-day meeting this year will discuss economic and development issues affecting Asia and the Pacific. Around 5,000 delegates, including finance ministers and central bank governors from 68 members' economies, officials from international organizations, and representatives from the private sector, academics, civil society organizations, and the press are expected to participate. The minister will deliver a statement at the governor's business session on 4th May, among other interventions during the period. Minister Sabri will meet with the counterparts of several other countries on the sidelines of the event to discuss Sri Lanka's ongoing engagements for economic revival. In addition, the Korea, China, Japan finance ministers and central bank governors meeting and the Asian +3 finance ministers and central bank governors meeting will also be held on the sidelines of the 2023 ADB annual meeting. The ADB will also launch the Innovative Finance Facility for Climate in Asia and the Pacific, a tool that will boost its lending capacity through. ADB assists its members and partners by providing loans, technical assistance, grants and equity measures to promote social and economic development. Now, the Sri Lanka Association of Manufacturers and Exporters of Rubber Products says that the value-added rubber export sector has seen a 10% revenue decline in the first quarter this year. It said that the revenue has dropped down to $231 million this year in a statement released recently. It said the declining trend has been seen from 2022, in which year a near 20% revenue reduction to $1 billion was recorded from $1.2 billion in 2021. Director General of SLA MERP Rohan Masakorala said, forward order books too have dropped considerably and the number of factories have reduced production capacity or are having temporary shutdowns, as both external demand and domestic demand has come down drastically. Although the input costs too have gone down, the buyers are continuously asking for price reductions to place new orders, he added. On the global front, the demand is coming down due to high inventory with buyers and also the recessionary pressures of inflation and interest rate hikes, which are affecting the total global supply chain. SLAM ERP also expressed concern that the only positive factor they had was the global freight, which peaked in the last 2 years, was coming down due to market forces. It said the shipping ministry has tried to artificially inflate freight rates by allowing unbuilding of the freight to avoid market forces by removing the Competition Gazette of 2013. SLAM ERP also said that the government must focus on supporting the export industry to grow, encourage new export diversification, and make the national export strategy be implemented. Meanwhile, the government joined hands with the United Nations Development Programme to align tax and fiscal policies to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals in Sri Lanka. The Inland Revenue Department, the Fiscal Policy Department, the Ministry of Finance and the United Nations Development Programme launched the plan in Colombo recently. The initiative launched the country's engagement plan to implement practical actions for capacity building, technical assistance, increased awareness and institutional development in order to support the financing and achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. The recently launched SGD stimulus plan of the UN Secretary-General called for a fit-for-purpose sustainable financing approach. Therefore, stable and reliable state revenues are crucial for financing the SDGs. The Sri Lanka Country Engagement Plan will provide the roadmap for the demand-driven activities envisaged for the country and will be funded by the governments of Finland and Norway. This initiative will be implemented for 2 years and anchored at the Inland Revenue Department and the Fiscal Policy Department. Forging wide-ranging partnerships, the initiative will roll out an SDG taxation framework. Further, initiative aims to explore digitalization solutions to improve tax filing, processing and collection efficiency. It will support Sri Lanka's climate and gender considerations in fiscal policies and support treaty negotiations in partnership with the South Centre, Switzerland. Stay tuned for the stock update. Welcome back, you're with State of Business, and now the stock update. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on positive notes today.
The All-Share Price Index gained 88 points for 5 points to close at 8,799.91, and the S&P and SL20 gained 19.66 points to close at 2,534.03. The turnover was 6 billion rupees and over 29 million shares were traded.
Coming up next are Forex rates. And with that, we wind up for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. Thanks for watching. Take care and good night.
State of Business was sponsored by
Star, see that out.
IWS